What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about some actual pretty surprising news, and that's that Star Wars Jedi Survivor is coming to PS4 and Xbox One. I didn't see this on my bingo card, but what we have is EA saying that in their earnings call. They said Respawn is in the early works, so there's no release date, there's no even release year. You might imagine, could they get the thing out by the end of the year? We're kind of running out of months, right? So at this point, I kind of think it's going to be next year that's happening, but this was never promised or anything, and that's what really has caught me off guard. One of the things we've seen in the industry is games dropping those last-gen versions. When Skull and Bones, and now that game obviously is still in some trouble here, but, that game was supposed to come out on last-gen and current-gen, and they dropped it. Gotham Knights, as an example, right? There's actually been plenty of games. Marvel's Midnight Suns, I feel like because of the sales of the current-gen versions, they canceled the last-gen versions, and they said, you know what, it's not even worth it. We're not even going to do it because it's just not going to sell, or whatever the reasoning might be. So that's what normally happens, is we know that it was going to happen, and then they just either delay it or cancel it, or, it just takes forever. Hogwarts Legacy, the list goes on and on. Jedi Survivor was never promised on PS4 and Xbox One. Some people are asking, like, in the comments, if they can even do it. Is it even possible to have the game running on last gen? You are having people saying about, can you fix the current gen version first? There were a lot of issues, obviously, right, with Jedi Survivor when it first launched, and you got to be careful about that from like a public perception thing. The game wasn't received all that well, specifically like this part of it, how it ran and the amount of patches and the length it took to get these patches out. That was easily, I think, the game's maybe biggest weakness, when it first launched. So get that stuff squared away if it's not already. It never really was an issue to me, or I never had issues with the game, but I know many others did. But obviously you got to get that stuff figured out first and then release it. But pretty interesting. They say that it sold extremely well. People are spending more time in Survivor than they did Fallen Order. They had, their records, and a lot of money was made for EA in the last couple quarters. And they said that, Jedi Survivor, I think the last quarter, and Jedi Survivor was a huge part of it. So they might have just seen kind of the early trend with money and said, oh my God, this game is selling insane, and it's not even out on PS. Imagine what that could do. Now, as I've kind of said in the past, I don't think it does as well as people think it does. Obviously, the stats would have to either, back me up or not back me up. But I think for a game that at least releases on, current gen first, and then is going to do what Jedi is doing, right? Release on PS4 and Xbox One next year or something. I don't think it's going to sell as much as, and I don't know how much they expect it to sell. Maybe a couple million max, but you're not going to get like 6 times the sales just because there's more PS4s out there. That's really not how it works. So I do wonder how it will sell, like in general, but it's still pretty interesting. So if you've been waiting to get this game and you refuse to get a PS5 or Xbox Series S or X, or you don't have a PC, you're in luck because they got your back very, very randomly. Nobody really saw this coming like whatsoever. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed, bell icon turned on. I got loads of Jedi Survivor videos if you want to check those out, and I hope to see you all on the next one.